Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Nature Boy, back with another video for you guys here today. And today we're going to be discussing two major fights going on in One Piece right now. We're going to be talking about Law versus Blackbeard and Kid versus Shanks. The worst generation versus the Yonko, and where I think these two fights are going to go. Now, if you guys have been following this channel, you know I've already made a video in depth on how I think the Law versus Blackbeard fight will go. Bottom line, I think Blackbeard is going to defeat Law, capture Law, and get his road poneglyphs from Law. However, I think there's going to be a lot more when it comes to the finer details in that fight and what's going to happen with Kobe and Garb and many others, and other characters I think are going to come into that fight. So if you want the in-depth on that one, go ahead and check that one out. But I wanted to touch on that fight a little bit here today as well, and just mention that at the end of the day, these two fights with Blackbeard and Law and Shanks and Kid, in my opinion, they're being inserted in the story so that Shanks and Blackbeard can get all of these poneglyphs and can be as close to the One Piece as Luffy himself. So bottom line, win, lose, draw, whatever, at the end of the day, Shanks and Blackbeard need to acquire the road poneglyphs from Kid and Law. So with that being said, how do I think the Shanks and Kid fight is going to go? Because this is the most recent one. We see in one of the most recent chapters, Shanks is rocking with the people of Elbaf. Kid comes in with his crew. All chaos is about to break loose, and they're about to have an all-out war for the road poneglyphs. And it seems like this fight is going to be to the death or close to it. So this is going to be a much more serious fight than they had last time. So the way I see it, this fight can only end one of three ways. Because like I said, this fight is about Shanks acquiring his road poneglyphs to be one step closer to the One Piece, because Blackbeard and Shanks are the characters that have been saved from the beginning of the story for the end game of One Piece. So for me personally, I just don't see how Shanks is going to be saved for 26 plus years, holding back all of his combat, holding back all of his strength, all of his feats, for his big thing to be to mid-diff Kid. That just doesn't make any sense to me. So this is gonna need to have a strong impact on Shanks, where Shanks needs to look really good here. And so same thing with Blackbeard as well. And the only three ways I can see this fight ending is I'll start with the least likely. The least likely would be Kid gets demolished by Shanks, but he gets maybe one shot in, and Shanks just destroys him. Now, when this chapter first came out, I was thinking Shanks is probably going to absolutely just wreck him. But the more I think about it, Kid is still a very important character himself, and his story arc has not fully come to a close yet. So to just absolutely destroy Kid would tarnish his character a bit, and I don't think that's where Oda is going to go with the story. So that's why I put this one as the least likely. Now, something that I think is more likely than this, the second most likely of the three options, would be Shanks absolutely wrecks Kid, and then we cut to the fight. We cut to where Shanks wrecks Kid, and Kid is seemingly defeated. And as Shanks is about to retrieve the road poneglyphs and leave, Kid awakens his advanced conqueror's haki and comes back in for a second fight. Pretty much the same way it happened with Luffy and Kaido on the rooftop, where Kaido defeats Luffy. He's out cold, unconscious, and meanwhile, as Kaido's dealing with Law and Zoro, here comes Luffy, rejuvenated, refreshed with advanced conqueror's haki, and they then have a much closer fight where Kaido's still superior, but the advanced conqueror's haki puts it to a close point where he's now able to respect Luffy. And I think this, even though I don't fully believe in this, I think there is a chance that this might happen. However, I don't think Shanks is going to struggle with Kid that much either with advanced conqueror's haki. He's just going to struggle enough to earn the respect of Shanks, and Shanks is still going to defeat Kid, walk away with the road poneglyphs. But Kid is now going to have advanced conqueror's haki, and more importantly, he's going to have the respect of the Yonko and the strongest characters in One Piece. Now, for the most likely scenario that I think is going to happen here, I think this fight is going to end with an interference. Now, who interferes? I have a specific theory. However, it can be anybody, but it has to be someone strong enough, not necessarily to make Shanks back down, since Shanks' personality to begin with is a pacifist type, and Shanks is not leaving without the road poneglyphs. He's already made that clear. So one way or another, Shanks has to leave with the poneglyphs. But what I think can happen here is Kid and Shanks can fight, perhaps Shanks wrecks Kid. Maybe the Advanced Conquerors hockey thing happens anyways, and he awakens Advanced Conquerors hockey, and they now have a fight where Shanks is still dominating, he's still very much in control, but Kid is holding his own. And right when Kid is about to lose, what I think might happen is one of the Gorosei members might interfere in this fight. The reason I say this is because I don't see a way where this fight can just end clearly unless Shanks destroys Kid. And the more I think about it, the more I think Kid is still too important of a character to just get destroyed like that from Shanks. So if someone comes, they have to be someone strong enough and with respect enough to make someone like Shanks listen and leave. Although I still think he's going to get the road poneglyphs. So if you guys are liking the video so far, why not go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated and helps me go a long way in making these videos. So please subscribe. Not to mention, now we're seeing for the first time ever the Gorosei themselves actually making moves in the story of One Piece. We see Saint J. Garcia heading over to Egghead to deal with Luffy, and because of this, I'm starting to think, why would they only send one Gorosei member to make his move? They've all been saved for hundreds and hundreds of chapters, so now I think they're all about to make their move, and I think one is being sent to Egghead, one might be sent over to Blackbeard versus Law, and one might be sent over to Shanks versus Kid. Now, if this is the case, how that Gorosei that goes over to Blackbeard versus Law deals with it, I think that's going to be very interesting as well, because now we have Garp on the way who wants Blackbeard's head for capturing Kobe. We have Kobe captured, we have Katakuri potentially maybe coming back to get Pudding, or Big Mom as Pudding hinted at. So there's so many variables that can happen here, and it's going to need someone huge to stop this, and a Gorosei member there can probably calm down Garp or calm down some of these stronger characters, and Blackbeard can then take Law because Law's a pirate and no world government member is really going to care, and Kobe is then retrieved and goes back with Garp. So I think that's how the Gorosei member interfering with Blackbeard versus Law might go down. However, with the Gorosei member interfering with Shanks versus Kid, I think this is crucial because someone has to interfere in this fight, otherwise Kid is going to basically be dead, and that, just from a story perspective, it doesn't really make sense. And Shanks is the golden boy in the series pretty much right now that we're going into Endgame. It's Shanks, Blackbeard, and Luffy, so Shanks is definitely going to be protected here. So if a Gorosei member comes in, stops the fight, maybe Kid is already on the verge of being defeated and he knows it, and Shanks just takes the rubbings and leaves, and Kid is utterly defeated but he is saved. Maybe something like this can happen. However, this draws in the question now, will the Gorosei member go to capture Kid? And of course, a major variable here that we have to discuss is the warriors and giants of Elbaf and what part they will play in this fight. Now, many people have speculated that because Law and Kid were the two pirates to take down Big Mom, that the people of Elbaf, due to their long, many years of hatred towards Big Mom, might side with Kid or might not want to harm Kid. Now, personally, the way I see this is, just because they had a mutual enemy does not necessarily make them friends, especially when they don't even know Kid and they've never met him. All they know is that this man also shared the same hatred for Big Mom and took her down for his own personal reasons. This isn't enough for me to think that they are now going to go against a long time friend like Shanks and the guy that basically protects their territory, because it's their country, I should say, and his territory, because Elbaf is Shanks' territory as far as we know, and he is the protector of it. So I don't see them turning on Shanks or even just sparing Kid if he is going to fight with Shanks just because he took down a mutual enemy of theirs. So what can happen here if the Gorosei member does interfere, perhaps he is able to stop Shanks from killing Kid, and then he himself goes on to want to capture Kid after Shanks leaves with the poneglyphs. But then, with Shanks leaving with the poneglyphs and already being out of the equation now, with that Gorosei member wanting to capture Kid due to obviously his major moves in Wano, 3 billion berry bounty now, the people of Elbaf have enough sympathy for him that after seeing him be not defeated but on the verge of defeat from Shanks and majorly wounded, they are now going to want to at least save him from being wrongfully taken advantage of and being captured by the Gorosei member. Kind of like Shanks stopping Green Bull and Wano from taking advantage of a weakened state Worst Generation members after everything they did in Wano, and how he didn't really connect with them, but he just simply got in the way of the person that was trying to take advantage of them now that they were much lower in health and was trying to capture them. He pretty much just stopped Green Bull and left. So I can see the Giants of Elbaf doing something like this, all of them together perhaps, with that Gorosei member protecting Kid from being captured. Whereas it's not necessarily that they care for Kid, is they just don't want to see a guy like that just went through hell and earned Shanks' respect and their respect, as they are probably watching that fight, go down in such a pitiful and wrong way by a Gorosei member. So that's what I think is going to happen between Shanks and Kid, and like I said, with Law and Blackbeard. If you guys haven't seen the in-depth video on how I think that fight is going to go and all of the people that I think is going to interfere and who's going to get captured, who's going to lose, and everything else, go ahead and check out that video here right now. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.